Hello, I am Editor RXC. Welcome back to the Paintvember series. I'm going to sound a little bit different here. First of all, allergies have me a little bit clogged up, but also I have a brand new microphone. So hopefully that sounds good. Otherwise, I did do quite a lot of painting this day, which happened to be through various things. I went through a whole bunch of the medals of stuff that I had forgotten to do, as well as numerous other little pieces, the purity seals, the crests, as well as any sort of extra pieces that needed to be painted, such as the holster for bolt pistols and so on and so forth. So right here in the beginning, it is just me doing cleanup. I said that I do cleanup every beginning of the day because it does help get that generalized feel for it. Again, here, I forget that I'm supposed to be fixing the camera angle, but later down the line, I do manage to remember that I think most every day. But I am painting the pipes how I kind of wanted them, which was the joint pieces being that ironish, silverish looking sort of color, and then having the pipes connecting into them being the actual bronzish, copperish pipes, giving them that more solidified detail into it. Because I feel like they just needed more. They needed more to add to that. And from what I had seen from, like, I don't know how to paint these guys, so I would look it up and I'd find Terminators, and all the little pipes and stuff would just be blue. And I didn't really want that for my Space Marines. I wanted them to be unique in their own little way. And I think there's so many details on these guys that you can just throw one extra different paint on to give it that variety. And I know some people have color schemes that they have to stick to when it comes to their armies, and I'm doing the same with mine. I just managed to use a lot more of this Balthazar gold, that really nice bronze color, for what I wanted. Like, look, that detail there of just bronze pipes on the back, to me that looks not bad. It's not great, especially because I don't like detail them too terribly much, but it's not bad. It is one of those things I do want to get better at, is the metallics, for sure. I think the metallics themselves add a whole bunch to the models, and I wind up losing out on that detail that I could have when it comes to my army. There's a few unorthodox things here that I do for these Terminators, which some people may like, some people may not. I think they turned out pretty all right, and I will be doing that for Terminators in the future whenever I have them, any more of them, or when I paint more of them, because obviously I have the Leviathan box. I've got all sorts of more Terminators I have to paint, including a lieutenant Terminator that I have to do a certain thing with, or a Captain Terminator. I don't know what he's called. Just doing the little crest there, making that beautiful bronze. Here's the knee pad for all Space Marines related to my chapter. Put a little bronze on it. This is another one of those that I think my metallics, I need to get a new bottle for most of my metallics, the Balthazar Gold, the Lead Belcher, stuff like that, because it just doesn't flow right. And I know what it is it's just like the paint flex does not want to properly be paint. So I have to go and fix a lot of these down the line, because they don't take as much as I primarily want them to. Doing the crest here. So for the crest of these guys, I did the wings bronze and the middle of it gold. I'm just adding bronze because at this point I didn't know what I wanted the Terminators to be exactly. But I found out later, I was like, no, we want them to be different. We want them to have bronze wings and then the gold skull, because The great Lord Emperor, the chaired Emperor is now, gold. That's what we're going to put it as. Now right here, I'm just doing a whole bunch of that regular old bronze. Also, reminder, this is 2 times. I didn't realize how slow I actually did paint when it came to this because, oh boy, I I took my time. I really wanted the camera to have an eye full, but Jesus Christ, I fumbled my thumb there. But yeah, it took so long. It took so long to paint these guys because I wanted to give like an effort to make them look better than I could have expected, for sure. And they did. They did come out like actually really well and kind of renewed my vitality when it came to painting because for a long time I just didn't want to do it. I like it as a hobby for sure, and there are times that I'm just like I want to paint like 30 dudes and I have the primer and I have all this and I'll just go out prime them and the next day just get to painting. But sometimes when you're out of it, you don't have that drive to return to something, even though it's fun, like, well, quote unquote fun, because I will get pretty frustrated with if I skip a line or whatever. I mean, even editing this, whenever I saw the brush like tap something and there's a little bit of bronze here, or there's a little bit of lead belcher here, or whatever, like I got pretty angry at it for sure. Here I'm just showing off the progress of the bronze, which it's not bad. I think I finally fixed my camera angle, which is good. Here's the little belt details, putting that buckle on. This is the part that I think people might not appreciate too much, but painting over the face with that bronze and having it be, I don't know, I loved this. I love the color. I love how it turned out on the face. Like all the angles and everything, it just came out looking so dope, with what its like presentation was. And this was something I was spur of the moment like, oh, I want their faces to be different. I don't want them to be like a normal Terminator and just have them be a blue head or a white head or whatever. Even though I like the white-headed Terminators, I think they look pretty dope. I like this even more, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm a big fan of the bronze. I love Balthazar Gold. It looks fantastic to me. So for this, I was pretty excited about it for sure. But I just did a half and half. So half blue, half bronze, because I wanted to try something different. I wanted it to be that intriguing sort of tone difference to it. And I think they turned out pretty dang well. Even though they were a spur of the moment decision, I'm kind of happy that this is why I paint the way I do. Is a lot of it just being an instant like, oh, I need to do this because to quell my curiosity. I mean, it would be a pain to paint back over what I had just done and put it back to blue and have to put those many coats on and have that many details dulled. But at the same time, you never know if you don't try. And it's important to have those types of moments, especially with the models, to give them that different aspect. You can see here, I had put them up to the camera. I was like, damn, that's not bad at all. A lot of the little details here. I am going to have to go back over a lot of these little shell casings. I noticed I missed the parts towards the edges, and I think the reason was I didn't want to have to paint back over it. But at the same time, that's my fault for not, doing it properly the first time. But it's nice that I have the option that I can go back through and, fix that. It's not a set thing. That's one of the best parts about the models as well, is like some people might not even notice it. If they're like picking it up and bringing it to their eyeballs, You might or you might not, or, I'm not bringing these to professional shows or anything, so it's not like important for me to show off my expertise when it comes to this. Like, all things considered, I'm pretty amateurish when it comes to miniature painting, but there's just like those little mistakes that I notice that I have to fix sometimes. But it's important to have those. It's important to have those and then to remember those later down the line. And, oh, well, I could fix this. I could have this be better as long as I didn't do it this way or whatever. And just painting the bronze trim around the bullet area. I thought this would be an interesting thing to have, and I'm kind of happy I did that as well because it gives it that old like Western Gatling gun sort of feel, which I was pretty excited about. So that was a pretty interesting choice. And then also for the holidays, I had gotten a drill. So all these little gun barrels and stuff that you see right now, I actually went through and drilled in so that way they had that more realistic feel to them, which is I was a big fan of. I was a little bit concerned at first that I was going to mess them up. And for the double bolter on one, I definitely need to go back through and fix it some way or another because I think I broke the tip of it. But it is what it is, You win some, you lose some. You learn from what you've lost. You eat from what you win, right? I don't know what the saying is. Here, I fixed the casings because I had forgotten those. Finally, just those nice little, details that go onto the plate of the model. Around this point, I got to the second Terminator, which is probably about halfway through the recording. I got to him, which it's only because these models wound up having so many details on the models themselves. So many little bronze details I had to go in and paint through and fix up and do all that sort of stuff. Skip past, you can see I'm putting that same bronze knee pad on like I do for all of this chapter, as well as all the little pipes and everything are painted here. I finally got to that point where I've already shown what I'm painting bronze, so there's no point in going to the new model and showing what I had already painted previously on the new model when it came to the bronze or, any future sort of thing. For this guy, it was a lot of figuring out where I wanted these little bronze things to go or how I wanted the knee pad. Did I want this one to be this? Did I want it to be iron colored? And kind of figuring that out. This guy, I think I just, all the crests and everything for my models, I just made that bronze because, again, I just like that color. I think it's pretty dope. And then for the future, whenever I paint captains, lieutenants, etc., and you'll see this as well whenever I upload those, I want a specific part to be bronze. I want them to have that different color to them. Kind of similar to how, like, Chiron has in Space Marine 2, he has his robot arm, which gives him that different look compared to the other Space Marines. I want them to have a bronze arm or leg or something and give them that identity as this is a higher ranked person because they've got a different colored thing. Even though I know in real military stuff, they're not supposed to be too different so that way people don't get sniped and everything. I don't really think it matters for Space Marines because they have a set rank they're supposed to go and do, and then if anybody assassinates the big guy, it doesn't matter because they're Space Marines and they'll figure it out. Just finishing up the knee pad there. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do the shoulder crest during this time as well. Again, I looked towards my monitors on the right-hand side of my screen and was trying to figure out if I wanted them to be close to the Terminators that they had on the website, or, what I was going to put them as. Here I do that same half of the face thing. I start with my line so I know where I'm not going to be painting over, which was pretty important, and I should have done that the first time. I don't know why I didn't do it the first time. But this one definitely, I just love it. I love the look of that. I think for future Space Marines and stuff I'm going to be trying to do a line because I want to get better at freehanding and just giving those little details that it's not, that aren't prevalent that you can do when it comes to freehanding. Like whenever people make flags and stuff for their flag bearer Space Marines, those guys are wild. That is insane to me. Being able to make a whole banister and like when it curves and does all this stuff is pretty crazy. But it's dope. It's like that is one of the coolest things is having your own flag on a Space Marine. It's like this represents us. And being able to paint that and show it off and be like, oh, that's actually pretty dope. Here I paint on the shoulder pad finally. Give it that bronze look. I go over all of these for the skulls with that gold as well and just give it a different... It's just more yellow. That's like the only real difference in it when it comes down. But I did wind up, as I said, I just painted a lot. I thought I was just doing bronze for the day whenever I started editing this, and I was like, oh no, we're doing the purity seals, we're doing cleanup, we're doing all these different things. I didn't know I just did all this in the same day. But it's probably because I didn't have to work out that day, and so I kicked it into overdrive because I could actually work and not be limited on that front when it came to time. Which I think is one of the biggest factors when it comes down to any sort of artistry, is when it has too much time that you've put into it, you kind of start losing that drive, especially if you're someone like me who, when you start doing something and it takes time, you don't want to do it anymore because of how much time it's taken. You feel like your time is wasted, but it's like, well, if you didn't do that, what would you have done? So... super important to put that into perspective of, well, if you consider this productive and assists in your skills as this painter or whatever, why wouldn't you put the time in to figure that out? Here I messed up the wing, and I wish I had a recording of me whenever I edited this, because I just straight up yelled curses because it annoys me so much to see that and not be able to just slap myself in the face previous and be like, why did you do this? Why can't you just paint right? Why can't you just be normal? But I figured it out. I fix a lot of these in between and whenever I edit stuff. You'd see here I was putting him up against a previous one that I had painted to be like, well, what the hell did I do here? The crest looks different. But I like the new one. And, why not have some variety in it? It doesn't matter too much. They're going to look similar on the board anyways, so is what it is. Just painting that other Space Marines crest finally as well, because I got around to it. Here I'm painting the brown. I forgot I did this as well. I painted the brown for handles as well as any sort of leather bits that needed to be painted. Just really getting into crazy angles for this. It's just so ridiculous seeing it turn upside down and flip to the side, and a paintbrush going in between the legs and coming out and painting a thing that you wouldn't normally be able to reach your hand around to paint it unless the model wasn't fully put together. It's so funny to me watching that sort of thing happen. Right here, me getting to the handle and the leather for the belt, as well as the I almost said pockets, the pouches on the back for whatever the Space Marine has in that moment. Still funny to me. Watching some of this stuff at like 2 times speed, just because I know how slow it was. And then watching other people paint stuff and it being so fast. But I don't use contrast paints. I know a lot of people use contrast paints. I haven't gotten into contrast paints yet, I don't think. That I will at least anytime soon, because first of all, they're expensive. Second of all, I like putting those coats on and seeing how much of a difference it can actually make to some of these things. Here I'm just cleaning up when it came to the silver and everything, so that way it, just fixes that. I put the black on the handle for the bolt pistol in his pocket, little holster pocket there. Because I was originally going to paint those brown, but to add that contrast to the holster itself, I just put it as black, which I think wound up being a better look for it overall. I do like the leather looking grips for weapons, so I think for any of the main weapons that people have, I'll probably paint them brown as that sort of leather look or the wood look, and then any of the secondary weapons when it comes down to it, so like plasma gun or the plasma pistols, bolt pistols, stuff like that, I'll probably just paint them black. Here I'm doing the purity seals. I'm trying to get as neat as possible because, again, when it comes down to the Terminators, a lot of these pieces just flow right into the next. It doesn't look like something that comes off of it. At least in person, you look at it and there's like a slope. There's not, oh, this is attached, so it has a cutoff. It's just, oh, it just goes into the purity seal. But I do like how these turned out. I put more detail on them as it goes later down the line. I love the variety of color. I know that you're only supposed to use like a certain amount of colors when it comes down to it to give your armies that same color scheme overall, and it doesn't look weird. But I do love the idea of just having more detailed colors as it goes on. Oh, the purity seal is this color, and the gun is this color, and just giving them all that stuff. Not as crazy as the Rainbow Rock Marines, or whatever, the Sound Marines, I think they're called, or something like that. Because those ones are a little bit wild. That's a little bit of a lot of colors on a thing, but they also have the hats are so cool. I love them so much. Having that phalanx hat with all the different colors and stuff set in them is so dope to me. I do wish I had those phalanx hats, because the actual like feathers and stuff, it's just such a cool thing. I was looking, I'm going to go off on a little bit of not a tangent, but just like off on my own train of thought here while I'm painting the purity seals. I was looking into Space Marine parts for like medieval sort of Space Marines, like the cool Templar helmets and stuff like that. Oh man, I want to make a different chapter whose whole purpose is just that. And I know there's like the Black Templars and they have the Tabards and all these other things, but I don't want that. I don't want future knights to that extent. I want like Knight Space Marines, At least the ones that I had seen are more like you could use them for Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, because they're just like large knight dudes. And I think if I were to make anything in the future, it'd probably be a group of those guys, because that's just so dope. It's just so dope to me. I love the idea of just a group of big knight guys that just do whatever. I forgot I painted the eyes even on these, and they turned out pretty all right, all things considered. I'm not like a fanatic when it comes to how eyes are painted, so I was like, damn, that's not bad. I don't disagree with this. But also at the same time, I think I messed up one, and I had to go back through and fix it. But that is part of it. As I said, I'm not the cleanest painter. For these, I tried to get as clean as I possibly could so I didn't have to paint back over it. And I think I do throw some like shade or something in there so it has that better look. All around, I kind of like how that turned out too. It did not end up being too sad. I forgot I did this as well. I have the plate on the backpack. I don't know what it's called, but I just paint that red. And I think for future things to put identifiers on, whether or not the different companies it can be, I need to throw some sort of symbol on the back there so you know what, not what, is it chapter? Maybe it's chapter. I think it, yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's this chapter of this Marine, this is where he's from, or whatever, or battalions, or whatever. I'm trying to recall what it was. Company. There we go. So for like first, second, or third company and stuff like that, I'm not trying to go like the blueberries where it's like, oh, there's this many companies and this many crazy stuff, or when it comes to Black Templars and there being like 8 or 9 companies or something like that. I'm not too into the lore, I'm sorry, but I don't want them to be like overly too many Space Marines. Trying to add more details into the eyeballs there, because I really did like liquefy the paint, so some of it is just going to look a little bit wrong. Here, instead of doing red for the eyes, I do green for my Terminators, because I think that looks amazing. I think it looks so good with that bronze. And the blues, it's all right. It just gives it a different outlook. But I just love how that looks to me. It looks so nice to me. Going in, painting the other guy's eyes green, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why it looks so nice with that. I just kind of like the green visors. The red for the regular intercessors and flamers and all that stuff, but giving green to other things just looks kind of dope. But it's just something that I kind of really liked about it. I don't know what it was. I do it for the little camera things that they have as well. I don't know if I did it in this part. It might have been in the last part where I started adding in all the details. Here I go for the gold when it comes to the elbow pads and the extra little pauldron pieces, or not pauldron pieces, the little overhang bits on the knees. I don't know why I did, but I just do, to give them that little stripe of bronze and gold and iron and just some detail. For some reason, I don't know why I painted that gold, but I did. Forgot about this part, just painting a little bit on the outside gold. Not bad, though. I look forward to when I actually throw that extra green piece of paint onto it. Here I'm like, I should paint the skulls something different. So I'm actually going in and doing them with that little bit of gold and just giving them that extra detail that I didn't otherwise. Which makes that centerfold piece of it really stand out compared to the rest of it, because it is something very shiny surrounded by more dulled-esque colors. Honestly, it's like going through the process and recording and editing, and like it is so interesting to me to see how long it took to go through these pieces and see what the changes are to them, which is also pretty dope. Like all of these guys were gray. All of them were just flat out gray whenever I started painting them, and then over the course of this, whatever amount of time, like they do have that change in a personality almost, where you're like, oh, it's not just this guy's blue or this guy's gray or whatever. Like there's a lot more story being told when it comes down to the armor. I feel like everything had been crafted. It's all thoroughly invested in as a Space Marine, either through the tech priests or the Space Marines themselves. I just love that style. I don't know. Going through, here's what I was talking. I think it's gold trim, maybe, is what I was thinking of word wise. Paint more gold into it. I finished up a whole bunch of the other parts, so I was just skipping ahead as if I was a proper painter YouTuber, where I'm like, oh, this is where I'm going with this or whatever. But I do like it. I do like the details that I want to accentuate, just because it's just stuff you don't normally see painted different, I guess, or at least stuff that I haven't seen painted differently. Here's the regular old gold trim. Me fumbling the miniature in my hands, because at this point I'd been painting for probably about 2 hours or so. And hands getting cold and holding things does not work out well most of the time. Again, one of those things, I think I had said it whenever I was doing the blues and stuff like that, but I don't know why the hell I put that fire decal on. And I'm kind of sad that I did, because it doesn't, I feel like or maybe, you know what? Maybe it can work. Maybe it can work because for the company that they're a part of, it could be just fire support or support role. That's what it could be. I guess, there's different stories that can be told with whatever emblems, and I should probably be looking into that for my Space Marines and giving them more versatility and differences. There was a gold smudge. I don't know if I'll pause on it for the video or not, but I saw it for a split second there of something that I know I messed up on. I know I did it. It's my fault. Sad. Here I'm just showing the overview of models, what I had done for the day. You can see I have the gold and everything when it comes to the skulls, as well as the bronze and all the different little places I've put them, and the purity seals in their pink. Me trying to turn a mini and it not wanting to work for me here. All in all, I really do like how these guys turned up. Still, as time goes on, up until they're finished, I think there's still some things that I could have helped out with on it, or done more with, and given it that difference when it came to the colors and everything like that. But no, they're all right. They're all right. And then obviously I have to go in once everything is painted. As I said, for the Leviathan box, once everything is painted, I want to make the bases, because then I can have a better uniform base color for the models and stuff like that, on all of their little toesies. Because I have different types of like terrain looking muds and stuff, and I have boxes and bags of rocks and various little materials and stuff like that I can go in. Here, I just decided I wanted to edit, quote unquote edit, the little overhang of gold on his knee pad. Again, after all of these, I reviewed the footage of me showing them off, so that way I could get a better understanding of what I need to go through and fix and everything. You can see that gold on the pauldron that I still have to go over with more paint. God, I hate it. I hate looking at that so much, because it's just a simple mistake that I could have fixed. Time spent recording was 3 hours, 36 minutes, and 8 seconds. Overall, a lot of work was put into this episode. So hopefully you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, do all your whatever businesses. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in whatever is next. Take care.